Bulldozers will not be used for demolition activity in Joshimath. No heavy machinery will be used which can cause tremors. Demolition activity is largely to be carried out through hammers, drillers and other similar tools and equipment. As per sources, cracks have widened at least in 24 buildings which were already surveyed. More teams of SDRF will in fact survey affected areas such as Manohar Bagh. The situation will be assessed whether the damage is appearing in new buildings and whether the damage is increasing in the houses which have been already marked with a red cross. The administration is to hold more negotiations with property owners such as Mallari Inn to resume the demolition exercise. So the authorities that are on the ground right now, who will be razing to the ground 2 of those hotels that have been marked unsafe, have said that they will not be using any sort of heavy equipment like bulldozers. My colleague Amit Bhardwaj is now joining me live on this. Amit, give us more details. Obviously, the authorities want to avoid any more damage, because if they use heavy equipment, it could possibly lead to tremors in that already very unsafe and risky area, so to say.
Absolutely right, Paulami. You know, the demolition activity in Joshimath is going to be a bit different. You know, there are many procedures through which you can actually bring down a building immediately. But using even heavy machinery like bulldozer is not possible in Joshimath, because the moment you use bulldozers or any heavy machinery, what will happen is that you will have tremors in these terrains, and the terrains are actually weakening with every passing day. And you know, just look at this Mallari Hotel. Every day we are constantly reporting as to how the cracks between the Mallari Hotel and the Badranath Highway is increasing with every passing day, and this hotel is slightly tilting every day, which means, you know, when you use heavy machinery such as bulldozer, that could create tremors, and the possibility of land subsidence instances or landslides could increase as well, which would mean more damage to the houses in the lower terrain. And similarly, you know, you can't use such heavy machineries even in wards such as Manohar Bagh. So heavy machinery is completely out of question. Yes, the administration will now have to use hammers, they'll have to use drillers and similar equipments and tools to demolish these buildings. But that has to be done in a phase-wise manner. For instance, if you look at these 2 hotels, Mallari and Mount View, there are multiple loose establishments on the top of the building. If you look at the Mountain View right now, these are the loose structures that administration at the SDRF will be focusing on. Similarly, in Mount View as well, there are loose structures on the top floor, which will be dismantled first, and after that the walls of the top floor will be brought down, and from there will begin the activity of the demolition. But there is one more, you know, obstacle, major obstacle, Paulami, on the way of the demolition activity that needs to be carried out, and that obstacle is the people who are protesting at the very first site where the demolition activity needs to be carried out. I'll request Abhishek if he could come closer to Mallari. Since last night, these people are sitting on a dharna. They are raising slogans constantly, and women have blocked the path of Mallari Hotel, which means that officials cannot enter this particular premises. And we had asked them, are you going to stay here overnight? And what it looks like is there a temporary dharna set up already here. You have a tent which has been put up. Constantly they are burning wood, you know, to keep themselves warm, and they are not willing to vacate this premises, and until and unless the Dhami government, the Dhami administration announces the concrete compensation plan. If you would allow me, Paulami, I'll also speak to these people to understand, you know, where is the matter stuck right now. आप लोग कल रात धरने पे बैठे, आज संख्या बढ़ती जा रही है, इतनी ठंड में बैठे हुए हैं, क्या सरकार की तरफ से कोई जवाब अभी तक मिला आपको?
देखिए सर, मैं तो यहाँ नहीं थी कल, मैं इस जोशीमठ की बेटी हूँ। मैं लगातार फेसबुक से और न्यूज में देख रही हूँ, तो मुझसे रहा नहीं गया। मैं ओवरनाइट ट्रैवल करके मैं देहरादून से जोशीमठ आ रही हूँ अभी। सुमन नाम है मेरा।
क्या काम करती हैं?
मैं देहरादून में रहती हूँ, सर्विस करती हूँ।
सर्विस करती हैं. So there are other people as well who are coming here in Joshimath and they are joining the protest as well. All these women that you are seeing sitting here, they were here since last night. कल रात से ही आप लोग बैठे हुए हैं. कल रात में भी मैंने बात की थी. क्या सरकार की तरफ से कोई जवाब नहीं मिला? इतनी ठंड में बैठना पड़ रहा है फिर भी?
नहीं मिला जवाब.
कोई जवाब नहीं.
नहीं.
तो जब तक कंपनसेशन का अनाउंसमेंट नहीं होगा आप लोग नहीं जाएंगे क्या यहाँ से?
नहीं जाएंगे, यहीं पे बैठे रहेंगे भैया. नहीं जाएंगे. इतना कम
टेम्परेचर लगातार गिर रहा है, बादल छाए हुए हैं, बारिश हो सकती है.
कोई बात नहीं, बर्फ गिरे बारिश हो, हम यहीं रहेंगे. जब तक मांग पूरी नहीं होगी तब तक हम यहीं बैठे रहेंगे.
लेकिन ऐसे में फिर ये बिल्डिंग और कमजोर होगी ना.
कोई बात नहीं.
तो
ये बात तो सरकार को समझनी चाहिए ना कि आप लोग अपने एक छोटे से डिसीजन नहीं ले पा रहे और उसकी वजह से इतने सारे लोगों को यहाँ पे बैठा के रखा है, उनकी लाइफ भी डेंजर में डाल रहे हैं. तो ये तो सरकार को जवाब देना चाहिए ना इसका. शर्मसार हो चुकी है सरकार. मैं तो मोदी सरकार को विनती करना चाहूंगी कि आप कहते हैं कि आपको देवभूमि से इतना लगाव है, आज कहाँ चला गया वो लगाव? हम लोगों को यहाँ पे इतना तमाशा करके बैठने में क्या अच्छा लग रहा है?
There is anger in people and this anger is because the compensation has not been announced yet. And the women who are sitting here on protest are constantly saying that announce the compensation. Only after that we will be ready to vacate this premises. In fact, you know, these are because there are a lot of questions about what are the political affiliation of people who are sitting here. This gentleman is one of the owners of the hotel and is also apparently a BJP supporter because I had seen him moving with Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami when he was here. आप बीजेपी समर्थक होने के बाद भी जो धरना प्रदर्शन चल रहा है उसमें शामिल हो रहे हैं, क्या कारण है?
See, we are not against the government, we are neither against the administration. We just want streamlining of the process. But at the same time, we want a fair, full compensation for the people who are going to lose their properties, who are going to lose their hard-earned properties and their wealth.
Right.
We are not against the government, we are not against the administration. We just want to save Joshimath.
So, you want a fair compensation to be announced?
Yes.
And before that, you people will not allow the demolition activity to resume, right?
Once the demolition activity takes place, there's no guarantee that they'll get a fair compensation, first thing. Even the government wants to give people fair compensation, we know that. We just want that process to get streamlined and we want them to get the compensation as soon as possible.
So why do you think there's a sense of distrust between the people of Joshimath and the establishment right now?
This is actually a case of a big emergency. So during emergency times, there are experiences in the past that people do not trust the administration, people do not trust the government, and it is only because there's a situation of emergency right now that people are on the roads.
Right. So, Paulimi, apparently there's a sense of distrust, anger in people because there's no written commitment which has been made by the Dhami government yet, and these people who are sitting on dharna are people who own, hotels. They own multi-story buildings, common houses as well along with that, and there are Congress supporters here as well as the BJP supporters who are sitting on a dharna and saying that in order to end this distrust between the establishment, between the government and the people of Joshimath, there has to be some written commitment from the government. What is more surprising, what we are also collecting from people here, is that normally, Uttarakhand is not is a state which keeps on experiencing difficult situations like this one, not to this extent though, but there have been instances when there has been disaster-like situation. The government usually announces a one-time amount to be paid immediately, for instance, a 40,000 or 50,000 rupees payment. After that, surveys are carried out, after which, full compensations are announced. But right now, in case of Joshimath, any such announcement is yet to be made, and that is actually making the people quite angry here, and they are not letting the administration to carry out the demolition activity. But the big danger that is looming over Joshimath right now are the clouds that have covered the entire Himalayan terrain. There's a possibility that it could rain here, snowfall can begin, and after that the damage can compound. Back to you, Paulimi.
Absolutely. And Amit, their anguish is justified. They're going to lose everything that they built over years right now, and not because of something for which they are at fault.